So here are my grids. You can see I have 5 grids so far, and there's a couple different ways you can organize your grids. You can organize them by your audience, like are they for within school, outside of school, collaboration. You can organize them by individual class sections. Just think about who you want to have access to the topics in the grid. If you want to make a new grid, you can click the Add New Grid button and give a meaningful name. So I'm going to make a grid for one of my class sections, and then decide what type of authentication you're going to require. If you're in upper school, grade 6 and up, you should probably choose school email so that your students can sign in with their Google email address. If you're in the lower school, you probably want public MPLCs, and then you'll use a grid password for your students to access your topics. So I'm going to go ahead and use school email because this is for a high school section. And then this flip code gives students access to the grid as a whole and all of the topics inside that grid. And you can customize it. And it'll let you know if your top choice is available. Here, you can just confirm the correct domain for our email. If you wanted to collaborate with another campus, you could put their email domain in here also, and then students from 2 different schools could sign in and respond, which is kind of fun. Okay, grid is ready. Go to your grid. So this is going to take me inside the grid I just made. You'll see that Flipgrid ever so handily kind of preloads your grid with its first topic. And we can go in and click on the pencil to edit the topic. We can click on the topic name to take a look at what's in there so far. You can see the prompt, the stimulus. You can use the immersive reader feature, which will read the text to students. And you see that there are 0 responses right now. From this view, you can share it. So you can copy the link, you can post it directly to your Google Classroom, things like that. Or you can edit the topic, you can record a response, lots of other things. I'm going to go ahead and edit the topic right now. So you can see here's where you have your title. You can set the recording time for up to 5 minutes. So if it's really supposed to be a very quick formative check for understanding, you might only give 45 seconds, 30 seconds to respond. That's not very much time at all. 1minute, 30 seconds is sort of standard for most things, but if you want students to do a virtual presentation or something like that, you might want to give them up to 5 minutes. Here's the instructions. You'll notice you can do some basic formatting with your instructions, including embedding links. So if you want students to go look at another website, you can link it here. You can add a focus, which is a media resource. If I delete that, I can add a new focus. It can be all types of formats. I can record a video myself, kind of modeling what I want students to do. I can upload a video, I can link to YouTube, etc. It's kind of fun linking to Wonderopolis, things like that, a Newsella article. You can also give a tip. So if there's one specific thing you've been working on in class and you want to make sure that students focus on that, you can add that as a topic tip. So if you're you've been working on figurative language, you can include a topic tip. Make sure you use figurative language. If you've been working on a certain type of strategy in math and they're going to demo a problem for you, make sure you use a tape diagram, whatever. You can also add up to 9 external links to topic attachments, and these can come from your Google Drive. So if you have slides or PDFs or other supporting materials that you want students to look at, you can add them here with a custom title. And then down here are your settings. I encourage you always to turn on video moderation. That means when a student submits a video, it will not automatically appear in the topic for other students to view until you have approved it. So this means that people can't just post garbage. It also means there are times, like if you were to make a topic that was like a daily check-in, maybe it would always be private. Maybe you would never approve the videos. If it was just a 45 seconds, is there anything that you're worried about? Do you have any concerns for the day? So what do you think I should know? Then you might moderate that topic and never approve the videos, because those would just be little check-ins directly with you from the student to you. You can decide whether the topic is active, meaning accepting new responses, if it's frozen, or if it's hidden altogether. If it's frozen, students can go in and watch the existing videos, but they can't add any more. If it's hidden, they won't see it at all, none of them. You can also stipulate launch and freeze dates. So you might want to align these to your assignment and your due dates, up to you, or a day past your due date. And then here are just some fun things. I usually do let students mark up their selfies and videos. I do let them add a title. It's up to you if you want to do a view count or not. Sticky notes are only for the student. That's just a little like cue card space for them to write notes if they're trying to remember what they want to say. Will you allow them to edit video? I usually have this turned on, but if you're trying to do some sort of more extemporaneous speaking or things like that, you might want it so that they have to submit a single uncut take. And can they include a link? So this is nice if you are asking for any sort of supporting documentation, that they can add a link to a Google Doc or something like that. And you want to allow other students to like videos. That's up to you also. I like it. And then you can provide feedback directly in Flipgrid, or you can wait and go ahead and score it directly in PowerSchool. One other thing, we talked about moderation. We did not talk about student-to-student replies. So this determines whether a student can reply via video to another student's response. So this is perfect if you're trying to have kind of a threaded discussion where one student will post a video on a certain topic and then other students can respond to it. I think for most topics, it's okay to turn it on, and you can encourage students to go in and have that sort of next level deep metacognition of watching and responding to other students' videos. And again, as long as you have video moderation turned on, you're there in terms of kind of flow control to make sure that there are no inappropriate responses getting through. When you're finished fixing up all of your preferences and your topic, you can go ahead and save or update the topic. And if I come back in here to my grid, I can see the new name. The little red hand shows that it's moderated and it's active, and I can go ahead and share it. I'm going to go out to all my grids and choose something else. So you can see I have a couple of things here, and this one is currently frozen. That means it's not accepting responses. I'm going to view it. And here again, it's asking me to authenticate. Even though I'm signed in to my educator account, every time I go into a topic, it's going to prompt me for whatever form of authentication was stipulated in setup. So I'm going in basically to the student view right now. So it's going to authenticate me to make sure that I have the correct email domain before it lets me in. and I can see the prompt, and then I can watch all of the videos that were posted in this. But I can't post a new one because it's frozen. If I go into an active topic, I could post a video if I wish. So here you can see the prompt for this topic, the immersive reader button, 0 responses so far because I haven't approved them. And you can see right here it says moderated, and I can click the plus to add a response. You can video and add a video to the stimulus up here, but sometimes I like to go in as the teacher and add a response on the student side that will show up, just so no student has to be the first student who has a video showing down in the student portion of it. But now I'm a kid, I can mash the green button and I can record my response if I want to from the kid side. So here you can see the sticky note icon. So if I want to add some talking points that I don't want to forget while I'm recording, I can write it for myself there. A lot of kids don't use the sticky note. They just make their windows smaller and have side-by-side windows with whatever their text is that they're trying to refer to. I can also turn this into a whiteboard. So particularly in math and science and showing your thinking type of things, I can have this as a whiteboard and be recording as I'm going on. And I'm going to talk about some of the Flipgrid resources that they have on board. Flipgrid is one of those companies, a little bit like Seesaw. They're pretty amazing. They really go out of their way to support people. But if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, Flipgrid sounds amazing, but I can't think of my first prompt, they have a thing, they call it the disco library. So up top, you see this disco library link, and it's just all kinds of ideas. They have integrations with all sorts of amazing websites. So like the Met, Wonderopolis. So you can kind of go through here, Epic Books, Code.org. They have all of these integrations built in. So particularly for elementary school, I think Wonderopolis would be great in terms of combining some ELA with maybe a science or social studies reading content, and then have it be a Flipgrid endpoint. And then you can see that here are individual topics. So if I go to Wonderopolis, it's going to show me some cool things that I can do there. So these are all different topics that I can use. Why are rainforests important? Have you ever seen a red panda? What is Fortnite? Really important topic. So if I go to one of them, you can see what inspires you, read the article below, who or what inspires you, how do you feel about it, and it's connected to a Wonderopolis Wonder of the Day article. So it has the passage already attached to it. And I can just click on the select a grid, and it'll decide which grid I want to put it into, and click add, and it'll push that as a new topic in the grid that I own. So I think that if you're thinking about how to start using Flipgrid, I would play around in the disco library, because there are lots of resources already available there. So then next up are Grid Pals for collaboration. If you don't want to get into this right now because we have too many new things on your plate, that is fine. But Grid Pals are pen pals via Flipgrid. So this is a way, while our kids are stuck in their homes, you could decide that you want to participate in a Grid Pals collaboration. And the way that that works is that you would have shared topics that kids from both classes would respond to, and they would respond to each other on that topic. So if there's another class that's reading the same book as your class, you can have that kind of outside the classroom collaboration. So if you're not ready for Grid Pals, you might be ready for that type of collaboration. And then the last piece are mixtapes. So if you do decide to use Flipgrid and you've been using it for some time, and there's work that you want to share out to families, mixtapes are literally your greatest hits. So across all the topics in a grid, you can choose individual student responses and package them together into a mixtape that cannot have any new responses added to it. It's static, but it will be viewable by family members. Just in general, for collaboration that was down here, I want to point out some of my colleagues are using a topic that's basically group work via Flipgrid. So they might give an assignment that's a group assignment, and then in Flipgrid, they'll have a topic that's like, this is your discussion forum for you to decide things with your group.